Mrs. D's Baking TV. I'm Mrs. D, and guys, I just simply love to bake. So, welcome to my kitchen. Today, I will be preparing for you molasses cookies. If you watched my previous video, I baked some delicious gingerbread. So, I've got more molasses and all of these warm spices in my cabinet. So, why not continue with the fall baking theme? Now, I'll tell you, I love anything gingerbread, anything with ginger, allspice, all those types of, warm spices that we're talking about. I was going to do a ginger snap, but then I was searching the internet, guys. You go down that rabbit hole when you're searching things on the internet, and I ran across this recipe and I was like, "Oh, yeah, a molasses cookie." So follow along today as we make what I hope to be delicious molasses cookies. Now, some of the gadgets that you'll need for this particular recipe: you'll need a stand mixer. You're going to need a baking sheet lined with parchment paper. If you don't have parchment paper, you can spray it with some baking spray. That's just to make sure that your cookies don't stick. You're also going to need a small scooper. If you don't have this, use a tablespoon. You're going to need a whisk. You'll need a rubber scraper or rubber spatula, whichever you call this. You're going to need a bowl and a sifter because you're going to need to sift your flour and all of your dry ingredients together in a bowl. Here are the ingredients that you'll need for this recipe. You'll need all-purpose flour. I always use unbleached. Baking soda, ground cinnamon, ground ginger, allspice, cardamom, salt, dark brown sugar, unsalted butter, molasses, an egg, and vanilla extract. I always use unbleached flour. I've been using unbleached flour now for a number of years. I think I watched a documentary or something on how flour is made, and they explained that the whole bleaching process is not really necessary. So I've been using unbleached flour in all of my bakes now for quite a number of years. And do your research. If a step is not necessary in processing foods, if you don't necessarily need it, take it out of your diet. So let's add all these spices. There we go. I'm glad I sifted that flour because, as you see, I was using my little spatula here. There were large clumps of flour um, large clumps of flour in there. Okay, so we're going to set this aside. Well, actually, we're going to use our little whisk and whisk that together, make sure that it's well incorporated, and we'll set that aside. One of the ingredients that I forgot to tell you guys that you're going to need, we're going to roll our cookie dough in sugar. Now, the recipe calls for granulated sugar. I didn't want to use granulated sugar. I had this turbinado sugar left over from some previous bakes that I had. So this sugar is going to give our cookies a nice little crunch on the top. I use this in my bread. I also use this you'll have to check out my blueberry muffin recipe. Those blueberry muffins are so delicious. I actually baked like 2 dozen this past week and put some in the freezer for me and my husband so that on mornings when I don't feel like cooking breakfast or whatever, we just want something simple, I just take it out of the freezer, place it in my little countertop oven, heat it up, and we've got fresh baked muffins. So let's continue with this recipe. But yeah, you'll need some sugar to roll your dough in. Next, we're going to cream our butter and sugar together. And this is unsalted room temperature butter. If your recipe calls for room temperature butter, guys, use room temperature butter because baking is all about science. So if your butter is cold, what you can do is you can take out a plate or a bowl, put it in, I don't like microwaves, but you can put it in your microwave, put the bowl, just the bowl, in your microwave, then place your butter in the warm bowl, and by the time you finish gathering all of your other ingredients together, your butter has come to possibly room temperature. But see, it's soft enough that I can put my finger in it without it falling apart. And I saw another trick on the internet that you can use to soften your butter. You take a saucer, you put the butter on the saucer, you take a glass, put the glass in the microwave, and you top the butter. You stand the butter up and you put the glass on top of the butter. And that's another way to quicken it up. But don't put the butter in the microwave because then it's going to melt. Then you've got a whole temperature problem. So just if you know you're going to bake these cookies, get all your ingredients together the night before. How about that? So let's go ahead and add our butter to our mixing bowl. And our brown sugar. And we're going to cream our butter and sugar probably about 3 to 5 minutes, just until it's well incorporated. And I'm going to scrape down my bowl because it looks like some of my butter is not being incorporated into my sugar. Okay, that looks good. Alrighty, now we're going to add our molasses. We could have added the molasses because I think the recipe calls for you to add the molasses with the butter and sugar, but I don't know, that creaming process is just so important. I like to do it by itself. Just scrape down the bowl again. Yeah, some of our sugar is still stuck to the bottle. Okay, next we are going to add our egg and our vanilla extract. I'm going to scrape down my bowl again because the molasses, because it's so thick, it just looks like it's just sticking to my bowl. But I want to make sure that all of my egg mixture, all of my egg is incorporated really well before I add my flour. So let's continue to mix this just a little more. There we go. That's well incorporated. Okay, now we are going to add our flour mixture. I'm not going to add this flour mixture while my mixer is on because I don't want to have a flour celebration. So let's add just a little bit at a time and then we will start our mixer. Yep. I think that's all of it. This is going by really fast. Okay, I think that's good. And we will do the last little mixture with our rubber spatula. All right, and let's make sure that all of our flour is folded into our mix. I wish I had my grandbaby here for this part because she would love, love, love to get her hands in some cookie dough. She is enjoying her little sister. I don't know. Well, I don't know how long you guys have been watching me, but we recently had an addition to the family, a new grandbaby. So yes, you go back and watch my apple pie recipe, and that's when I introduced my oldest granddaughter, and then she recently had a new baby sister. So we are excited, excited, excited. Okay, so now we are going to scoop out our cookie dough using our scooper. It's a medium sized scoop because I have one smaller than this actually. All right, so we're gonna scoop this out. This is a wet dough. Okay, I don't like getting my hands messy. Okay, so it says we're supposed to roll our dough in our hands. That's why I just washed my hands. So we're going to roll our dough in our hands and then roll it in the sugar. Just like that. See that? That's a lot of sugar. I don't think I'm going to put that much sugar on each cookie. That was a lot. That was a lot. But remember, this is Dee, likes doing things in front of you guys for the first time. I've never tried this recipe. I sure have not. All right, let's keep going. I don't think the rolling, for me, the rolling in the hands, that's just not gonna work. I am going to, yeah, that's not gonna work for me. So we're gonna switch this recipe up. We're gonna plop that cookie dough right there in that sugar. Top it with the sugar. There we go. And place it on our baking sheet. Let's continue. Making sure that I have the sugar side up. See that sugar side up? And I'm just going to place it on the baking sheet. I'm going to press down on these just a little bit. You know what? On this one, I got the sugar side down. So let's just add a little bit more sprinkled sugar on top of that one. There we go. It'll be just fine. And we are going to bake these in our preheated 350-degree oven for 12 to 13 minutes. Now the recipe says that these cookies will appear to be soft in the middle, but as long as the edges are baked, do your 12 to 13 minutes, and we'll see what we're working with. So let's place these in the oven. Okay, here we go. So this first batch, I baked this first batch for 13 minutes. And this second batch, I baked it at 12. So for the settings on my oven, I would bake these cookies again on 12 minutes. So I'm going to place them on this cooling rack, let them cool completely. And you know what's coming next. If this is your first time watching my channel, there's a little thing that I do. I have a little taste test dance that I do. I'm gonna make you wait for it. But those of you who have visited my channel before, you know that I love to dance. But I'm not gonna dance until it's time. So we're gonna let these cool completely. Guys, these smell so good. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, these smell so good. And I am actually running out of room. So let's just let these cool. You know what's coming up next. And that's our last batch. And I allowed the last batch to bake for 12 minutes because I think 12 minutes is my sweet spot for my oven. And let's place these on the cooling rack. Oh my gosh, these smell so good. My neighbor's gonna come knocking on my door in a minute. Miss Dee, what you baking in there? I can smell it outside. Come back here, little cookie. Okay, because we already have some cooled. You know what time it is. But before I get to my dance, I want to show you something. So earlier in the video, I was telling you about the whole glass plate thing, microwave and all of that. So this is what I was talking about. You get your plate hot in the microwave, hot as you can get it. And then you take your butter. You place your butter on your plate and you put your glass on top. The heat from the saucer will transfer to the glass and it will not melt but soften your butter. So yeah, that's a little trick. I did not come up with that myself. I found that on the internet. So let's get into it. It's taste test time. I'm so excited. Okay, I want to show you two things. So this is the cookie we did for 13 minutes, and these are the cookies that we did for 12. Well, that's not a pretty one. Okay. So this is our 13, this is our 12. I'll let you see that close up. Visually, they are both golden brown on the top and the bottom. And I don't know, can you see my little sugar pieces? So this is the 12, this is the 13. So the 13, let's see. Well, let's go back to our little spot. So this is the 13. I wanted to see if it had a snap to it. Okay, it's soft. Excellent. And this is the 12. They're about the same. Let me tell you the difference that I see. So in the cookie that we kept in for 13 minutes, it's just a little more golden brown. But 12 minutes that's the key for my oven. So you're going to have to test out your batches to see if 12 or 13 minutes works best. That's enough talking. All I need is a glass of milk. That's a good cookie. Now this is called a molasses cookie. It's similar to the ginger snap that I grew up with. Oh, that smells so good. Guys, this is a delicious cookie. I know I say that, you know what? But I'm not going to bake anything that I don't like. Like you won't see me do rhubarb pie because I don't necessarily like rhubarb. But oh my gosh, this is delicious. You've got to try this recipe. Guys, thank you so much for joining me here in my kitchen again. I'm Mrs. D. I simply love to bake. Don't forget to thumbs up this video. Guys, you know there's a whole algorithm thing going on in the internet. So the more you thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe my video, the more popular I'll become. I'll be able to grow my channel. And you know, my ultimate goal, I may not have said this, but my ultimate goal is to make some money. But I love to bake. Even if I didn't have this channel, I would still bake. So guys, be blessed, be blessed, be blessed. Bye.